Class, it's me again. We are going to do a quick tutorial on calculating the circumference with an unknown, and this would be from Chapter 9, Lesson 1. This is just like Example 4. So I will refer back to Example 4 within the textbook, which I happen to have here. In Example 4, we have a word problem, and we actually end up having an unknown. It says Lily is drawing plans for a circular fountain. The circumference of the fountain is 63 feet. What is its approximate diameter? So in this case, they actually gave us the circumference, but they're asking us to find the approximate diameter. So if I go back to my drawing tool here, we know that the formula that I'm going to be using for circumference is equal to pi times diameter. And I kind of replicated the scenario here. This is our circular fountain. Don't make fun of my circle. It's not perfect. And they're telling us that the circumference of the fountain is 63 feet. They're asking us what the approximate diameter is. So all we're going to do is we're going to use the formula. We're going to plug in the information that we know, and then we're just going to solve for our unknown, as we typically do in school for our equations. Okay, so let's do that. So we know what our circumference is here. In this case, it's 63 feet. We know that for pi, we are going to plug in 3.14, and we do not know our diameter because that's our unknown. So now in class, how would we solve for our unknown? We would solve for our variable by getting it by itself. So in this case, we need to get our d by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by 3.14. The 3.14's cancel on the right side. I'll be left with my d. And then this is the part that you can use your calculator for. You're going to do 63 divided by 3.14. Now remember, they're asking for the approximate diameter, so we are not using an equal sign here. So let me erase my equal sign. And I'm going to put my approximate symbol, because this is not exact, because we are using 3.14 for our pi. So in this case, our diameter is approximately 20 feet if we were to actually do the calculation on our calculator. So even if you have an unknown, you can still solve as long as you have some information. So if they give you the circumference, you can solve. If they give you just the diameter, you can solve. If they were to just give you the radius, you can solve, because we already know that pi is equal or equivalent to 3.14. Now, I want to kind of go over the examples in the textbook that you will have as your class assignment. So if we look at, you have numbers 2 through 24 even. And hold on one second. All right, I wanted to go over a couple of the problems because I have a feeling you're going to be confused when you take a look at them. So you have 2 through 24 even. I want to look at numbers 21 and 23. Those are the odd problems. It says find each missing measurement to the nearest tenth, use 3.14 for pi. So this is exactly what we just did. It's just solving for our unknown. So we're going to use our formula, plug in what we know, and then we're going to figure out what the diameter and the radius is for number 21. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here I have, this is actually problem 21 from the textbook. They want us to find the radius, they want us to find the diameter, and they're giving us the circumference, which is 17.8 meters. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the information I have into my formula, and I'm going to find my missing values. So if I do that here, my circumference is 17.8. I know that pi is 3.14, and my diameter is an unknown. I'm looking to solve for that, right? So in order to get my diameter by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 3.14. These 3.14s will cancel. My d is going to be equal to, or actually, again, I want to put approximate. Do my approximate symbol. So my diameter is approximately, and this is where I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to do 17.8 divided by 3.14 to see what my diameter is approximately. Now in this case, when I actually divide these two, I get a pretty long number. It's 5.668, but I'm going to stop at 5.66 because I know that the directions told me to round to the nearest tenth. So if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, my diameter here would be approximately 5.7 meters. All right, so my diameter is 5.7 meters. And now the only thing I need to find is my radius. Well, we know that our radius is half the diameter. So now we're going to take the 5.7 and we're going to divide that by 2 to find out what our radius is. Our radius, when you actually do the calculation, you would get 2.85. Here we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So you can say that the radius is 2.9 meters. So even though we used the formula that had diameter in it, we could still find our radius as I explained in the previous video. Okay, I just want to show you, this is example 23 from the work page for 9.1. So in this case, our two unknowns are our radius and our circumference. They are giving us the diameter of 10.6 inches. So I'm just going to use my formula here. I don't know my circumference. I know that pi is equal to 3.14, so I'm plugging that in, and I know that my diameter is 10.6 inches. So I would go ahead and I would multiply 3.14 times 10.6, and I would get approximately 33.284, but they're asking me to round to the nearest tenth. So that would give me a circumference of approximately 33.3 inches. So our circumference here, which was an unknown, we now calculated, is, and I should put the approximate symbol here. So it's approximately 33.3 inches. And you guys know that the radius is half the diameter. So we're just going to cut 10.6 inches in half. And when we do that, we would get 5.3 inches. Now, because we are rounding, sometimes these may be off a tenth, but that is okay. So for example, if I cut 10.6 in half, I would get 5.3. But if you round it a slightly different, you might be off here or there. Okay, so this is just showing you how to do the problems. So you'll be doing problems 22 and 24. Pretty simple. You're just plugging in the information that you have into your formula, and then you are solving for your unknowns. All right, so don't forget, this is for lesson 9.1 example 4. I will talk to you soon, guys.